9 years. It has been 9 years since I've been doing YouTube. That is insane. I knew, of course, I was going to do a big video on every anniversary I do. So for 9 years, I decided I'm going to redo a video I've done. I did an anniversary 5 years ago. That's talk about my top 100 favorite movies of all time. Yes, my true all-time favorite movies. Which, obviously, it's not easy. It's definitely not an easy list to do. It's not about, because there are so many incredible movies, like so many incredible, awesome, fantastic, and in general amazing films that unfortunately I had to live with the list. Even the films that didn't make the honorable mentions of films I wanted to put on this list. Again, and we live in a world with like so many outstanding, incredible movies. Of course, unfortunately, still I had his list. But again, I still decided to go for this list, so I hope you'll enjoy. This is just always my personal opinion. And also, side note, I did have put some ties on this list, and I also have decided to put some trilogies on this list because I want to be a little bit more varied on this list, at least as varied as I can be. So, just let you guys know on that. But I did, and while I definitely took a lot of restructuring, I did put a definitive top 100 best films of all time. And again, this is just my personal opinion. It's just my personal list. Because there may be some movies that'll probably be low on this list, or some movies that you probably wouldn't think are like best of all time that I have on this list. But again, it just comes down to personal preference. It comes down to personal connection and enjoyment. That's just what it comes down to, honestly. So, and I don't say you see some films on this list, you probably will get where I'm coming from, what I'm saying. But I still hope you'll enjoy the list. But in the end, I still hope y'all enjoy me discussing my favorite movies of all time. And again, obviously let me know your favorite movies of all time down in the comment section. Again, it's definitely not easy discussing your favorite movies of all time, but again, we already got a long video ahead of me, so I'm sure there's gonna be a long video. So let's get into talk about what I think are the top 100 favorite movies of all time. Like I said, there's so many movies I wanted to put on this top 100 list, and there have been a lot of rough choices. Even the films that didn't make the missions about to talk about, the films, there are a lot of movies I wish I could have put on the list, but again, these entries are in no any particular order, but here are the films that I absolutely love and adore. They just did not end up making the actual list. Again, some of the choices were pretty hard and brutal, but here are the films that just did not make the actual list. Inside Out 2, Dune Part 2, Madagascar, Toy Story 4, Corpse Bride, Ratatouille, Mad Max 2, Fury Road, Space Jam, Pride of Chuggy, The Wedding Singer, Austin Powers 1, Scream 2, The Truman Show, The Green Mile, Barbie and Oppenheimer, The Sixth Sense, American Psycho, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Predator, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Big Lebowski, yeah, that one's gonna be 1,000 views on that, Men in Black, Hercules, Sky High, Waves, Rush Hour, Mulan, American Pie, Tarzan, The Iron Giant, Castaway, Gladiator, Memento, The War of Tenenbaums, Treasure Planet, Dawn of the Dead, Lost in Translation, Dodgeball, The Bourne Trilogy, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. That one was definitely a big on this list. Superbad, The Simpsons movie, The Descent, Rocky Balboa, Definitely Maybe, Ponyo, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Kung Fu Panda 1 and 2, X-Men First Class, Fast 5, Tropic Thunder, Silver Linings Playbook, Skyfall, The World's End, John Wick, The Tale of the Princess Kaguya, The Babadook, The Wind Rises, The Wolf of Wall Street, Creed, Deadpool, Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping, Killers of the Flower Moon, The Prince of Egypt, Encanto, Mission Impossible Fallout, Singing in the Rain, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of Black Pearl, Minority Report, Insomnia, Kill Bill, Brokeback Mountain, Chicken Run, Wallace and Gromit, Sin City, Meet the Robinsons, Lars and the Real Girl, The Social Network, I Love You Man, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Gone Baby Gone, Bridesmaids, Warrior, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, The Avengers, The Cabin in the Woods, Django Unchained, Jackie Brown, The Spectacular Now, Prisoners, 21 and 22 Jump Street, Annihilation, Brigsby Bear, Disasters, The Gift, Kingsman, Blade Runner, Casino, The Peanut Butter Falcon, The Iron Claw, and the one that just barely, I would say, is 101 on this list is the Before trilogy. Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. Again, these are all incredible movies I rewatch constantly, movies I absolutely adore. And the fact that some of those did not make the list is definitely a crime, but I still do love all of those movies, so. Okay, got a lot to talk about. Some I'm not getting for questions more than others, but let's get into the big list. Yeah, it's funny I did a video on the High School Musical trilogy, and it kicks off this last 100. I'm not talking about too much about this because I already also did a video on High School Musical. If you guys want to check that out. But again, High School Musical is a franchise I really adore. Honestly, again, the songs, the music, the characters, it's a franchise that's so much love. And I mean, like, if you guys want to know, again, I did do a video on it, so I'm not going to get too much because you check out that video if you guys want to know my thoughts on the series and the songs and the great characters. But I absolutely adore this trilogy. I think the third one's the best, but I think the first two are still great movies that I kind of limit. Again, like I mentioned before, this is not going to be the only trilogy you'll see on this list. Yes, I got the original Halloween at number 99. Like they're full, and this list wasn't easy, honestly, so bear with me, and maybe some classics are a bit lower on this list, but yeah, I don't know what type of Halloween hasn't already been said. It is an incredible movie, a fantastic classic use of a slasher. Again, Mike Myers is still one of the best killers and best horror villains of all time. Again, and despite all by lens of the best of the Halloween franchise, like I don't think any films came close to the original sets of this movie. Again, definition of a slasher done right. Laurie Strode's still one of the best finals in film horror movie history. Some fantastic characters, great skills, great scares. Best effective use of a slasher yet. I don't think I need to say any more about Halloween. I don't think the film original was going to be on the list until I rewatched it when Wonka came out last year. Was it last year already? Damn. But after rewatching The Rare Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, I knew I had to put it on this list, honestly. Again, sorry if I don't hope it bothers me so much, but some of these films are classics for a reason, and I don't know what I can say about it hasn't already been said. Rare Wonka Chocolate Factory is one of the most weird, insane movies of all time with some great songs. Gene Wilder delivering one of the best performances in Boy Wonka. Gets some of the most insane, crazy moments out there. Some really interesting lore, if you really think about it. One film that's very colorful on the outside is very pathetic on the inside. But it still turns out fun to recall with some pretty touching moments. It's just a film that puts a, by all its weird themes, it puts a big grin in my face. Yes, Goodfellas is only 97 on this list. Again, this list wasn't easy, guys. This list wasn't easy. And I don't know how I felt about Goodfellas, but again, I rewatched all Martin Scorsese movies last year with Killer of the Flower Moon. And Goodfellas is still one of the best. Again, one of the best crime movies of all time, one of the best like dark movies and mob movies of all time. Like, I don't think I say more. Again, incredible performances, great cast, great moments. I don't think I need to say anymore. Sorry if I feel like I talked so much about these movies, but there's just some I have more to say than others. But Goodfellas is a classic for a reason. Spoiler alert, not the first Steven Spielberg movie you'll see on this list, as he's my favorite of all time, so of course a lot of movies are going to make this list. And the first one on here is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. One of the best sequels of all time. It has an actual great emotional hook and story. Some fantastic metaphor between Indiana Jones and Sean Connery's who's in Jones' father in this movie. You get that great methodical mythology and lore that Indiana Jones is great known for being good as. Harrison Ford is still great in the role. The adventure aspect is still great. The backstory between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery is great. The adventure aspect is great. The action is still fantastic. The music still fucking kicks ass. And it's just a great fun action movie that's kind of like Rares in a way, it's just with a lot more muscle hook. What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? Of course, I had the Adventure 7 on this list. I mean, how can you not have the Adventure 7 on this list? Again, it's crazy it's only number 95 on this list, but again, this list wasn't easy, guys. This list wasn't easy. Sorry. Yeah, again, 7. Still a favorite classic for a reason. Hereditary. And this is a film that gets better the more I think about it. Again, it's my favorite film in 2010s, and I've always loved Hereditary. It's a film I wasn't expecting to love much I did, but man, the more I think about it, the more I think about its themes, the elements, Tori Collette's incredible performance, its Wolfie performance, that whole dinner scene. It's just a film that dives into why I love about horror and dives into why I actually want to experience it with horror movies. So yeah, Hereditary makes this list. Of course, I'm going to include the original Alien on this list. Alien! One of the best horror movies out there, honestly. Again, a classic example of a claustrophobic horror movie that delivers on the great scary aspects. Again, that trespassing scene lives in my head. It's one of the scenes that lives in my head rent free. This of course, Elvis Coin was one of the best actresses out there, especially with character Ellen Ripley. To all just come to her own to Aliens, she still has some badass moments here. And that climax, just kiss. Great directing, great action, great performances, great writing, incredibly effective scary moments. There's a reason why Alien's still a classic, and why I don't think, especially that I'm excited about Alien Romulus, I don't think any movie's going to touch the original two movies. One of the films from 2020s to make this list, John Wick Chapter 4. Of course, I was going to include at least one John Wick movie on this list. I was between this and the original John Wick. But in the end, I decided going to Chapter 4 again. It's the perfect conclusion to the series that I really hope God they don't end up actually continuing. Like, if I movie you can do like spin-offs or whatever, but don't actually continue, especially with how the movie ends. Like, I was actually surprised at the way they actually ended it, honestly. Keanu Reeves gives his best performance as a character, he gives him the most mind-blowing, insane, balls-to-wall action. This is a franchise that's had nothing but insane and balls-to-wall action, like, a franchise of how you do modern action right, with no CGI, all practical, all wood, all choreography, and they delivered in fucking spades in Chapter 4. I have one of the most emotional, poignant endings to any series. Please pray God, I hope they continue John Wick Chapter. Please, please, please. Like, I'm definitely stuff about Arena, obviously, or whatever spin-offs they have in his universe. Like, you tell stories in his universe, just don't bring about John Wick, please. But knowing Hollywood, I wouldn't be surprised if that in the case. Now we get the first superhero movie that's going to make its list. Spoiler, there'll be a lot more superheroes on this list. The Suicide Squad. Again, the only DCU movie to make this list, that's despite the up and downs from the universe, managed to get some great movies, but only one managed to make match of games of all time. And this is probably the best James Gunn movie out there. It's James Gunn to the F100% degree, and for good reason. It's the most James Gunn that James Gunn's have been, but in the best possible ways. Insane balls to wall action, incredible cast of characters, crazy humor, crazy twists and turns, like defying expectations. Like the opening scene is just like, whoa, and the final battle between that starfish. It's a film that's just so endlessly watchable and so much fun to watch. Blade Runner 2049. Again, not the only Denis Villeneuve movie you'll see on this list, because obviously the guy is a absolute mastercraft. I think a few of his movies were in my honorable mentions. Denis Villeneuve definitely is a masterclass as work for a goddamn reason. He is truly an incredible filmmaker with incredible work, and he doesn't. And in fact, he is able to make a sequel to the original Blade Runner, which I think was also in my honorable mentions. The fact that he was able to make a sequel to that movie 35 years later, and the fact that it actually ended up being as good as it was, yeah, again, I pretty much saw every reviewer had this movie as their best movie of that year, and people still praise it to this day, and for good reason. Good reason. Again, it's one that just doesn't like set up other franchises or other sequels and all that stuff. It's just a good mystery, standalone story with some of the most breathtaking visuals and cinematography you will ever see on film. Ryan Gosling continuing to prove why he's one of the best actors working today. Okay, so when his action is good, but the mystery aspect is really compelling, and the world building and what goes on, like you're just so immersed and invested in what goes on, you just can't keep it on screen despite its incredibly long runtime. So yeah, Blade Runner 2049, it still hits so much 7 years later. No Time to Die. Yes, I have no time to die here. Which I'm sure whether it's going to be a unpopular opinion or not, because this definitely is the most divisive movie in the Bond franchise, at least from what I've been told and from what I've seen on YouTube. Because a lot of people really don't like a lot of the story elements or a lot of things that goes on, and honestly, I love those elements. Like, I love Red Malik's villain, I love the different take on James Bond. Like, I guess people didn't like how unlikable he was in this movie, at least from what I saw. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, that's just what I've seen and what I heard. But I actually love the different take on Bond decided to do in this movie. Dan Craig actually gives his best performance as the character, and they actually try to make James Bond a character. Yeah, oh yeah, James Bond actually has flaws. Huh. Person, and find out you got incredible action set pieces, a really emotional, gripping story. Yeah, in my opinion, is one of the best James Bond films of all time. Don't find me on that. But I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna be on that, but I definitely do agree on that. And the ending is just one of the most emotional endings. It gets crazy that we only took the Daniel Craig's Bond. It's crazy that I only took this to 2021 for us to actually get an actual end to a Bond character, an actor playing James Bond. Like, it's crazy it took that long to end someone's run as the character. Because you really think about it, none of the previous Bonds had a true ending, but this one did, and it was satisfying. It was emotional, had some surprising moments. I just loved every aspect of this movie. It's definitely a top 2 Bond movie. Like I said before, now last year I actually watched the entirety of Martin Scorsese's filmography. Because it's been a while since I've seen a lot of his movies, and some of I've actually never seen. And honestly, in spite of some, honestly, it made me appreciate his filmography so much more. So again, there's definitely cause movies, sometimes I didn't cover this movie in my honorable mentions. Post a couple of the main list, but the first one being The Departed, which is against I feel like I forgot how much I love the Toby Watches series movie. Like, get gripping sequences, incredible performances from his cast, one of the most surprising endings out there, some of the most surprising moments in film history. It's a movie that just hits so much. Spoiler: you're gonna see a lot of Pixar movies on this list, because I'm being clear, I adore Pixar. I love and enjoy them. I think some of the movies are in my honorable mentions, but again, definitely the only Pixar movie you'll see on this list. And I'm actually going to talk about 2 Pixar movies at number 87. And I'm actually going to talk about 2 Pixar movies at number 87, 86, with number 87 being Finding Nemo, and number 86 being Toy Story 2. Again, reach all these movies was definitely very hard. It basically that we can put these movies at number 87, 86, because I rewatched these movies so many times growing up. Like, Finding Nemo is one of the most emotionally devastating movies of all time. Like, that opening scene alone is just, it rips your heart out. Like, oh my god, like, you get emotional just thinking about that scene. And there's Toy Story 2, which again was originally going to be a direct-to-DVD sequel, and not having so much quality, they decided to release it in theaters, and it ended up being a worthy successor to the original, where it built upon the world building aspect of that original movie, which is still a classic for a reason. And this is also definition how you do a sequel right. So yeah, true Pixar classics right here. Again, not the only Pixar movie you will see on this list. A film that the more day about, the more has gone up on this list. I decided to include it here, and that is Knives Out. And one of the best murder mystery films of all time. A film that just lives on the mystery aspect, has an incredible cast of characters. And Ana de Armas is great here. Chris Evans being Tuche was incredible. Daniel Craig's Blanca Bernard is going to be an icon, honestly, especially after this and Glass Onion. The mystery aspect is really engaging. Like the little details they try to go over here to make you think it's going to be this person, that person was incredible to watch. But the cast character makes for hilarious, great moments, and the actual reveal is just incredible. Like, it's definitely just a pure fun entertainment that, and the fact that I always keep coming back to this movie over and over again, the fact that it just hits so much every single time, I am having to put it on the best of all time list. I actually have watched all of the imitations of A Star Is Born. But like, to me, benefit, I didn't watch the original 30s, 50s, and 70s version, but I'm actually going to go with the most recent 2018 version at number 84 here. Mostly because it's probably the first one I watched, but it's one that still hits every time I watch it. Again, who knew Blake could act her ass off? Like, she has so much emotional scenes. It truly hits so much. And Bradley Cooper is also incredible. And so while some storylines may be kind of cliche or we've seen before, it's really the directing by Bradley Cooper that makes this movie really stand out and elevate so much of the genetic material. Right now, you actually do care about them as a couple. You do want them to succeed. And also, I still listen to the soundtrack to this very day. The soundtrack is still goddamn killer. Like, killer. The soundtrack here is just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss here. Like Shallow, I still hear constantly at karaoke. And occasionally I would hear I'll Never Live Again there as well. Like the songs here are just outstanding. And the ending, it still hits me. But yeah, overall, an incredible remake, and even though Master wasn't actually the as good as one, I'm really excited to see what Black Cooper does as director next. And now we get to the first and not only Edgar Wright movie on this list, and that's Hot Fuzz. Again, I love Edgar Wright movies, and spoiler, not the only one you'll see on this list. Again, Hot Fuzz, consistently hilarious, incredible performances, so many great one-liners, so many memorable sequences that'll still ring through my head. Like, I laughed so goddamn hard at so many moments throughout this movie. It's one of the most consistently hilarious movies of all time, so yeah, it definitely belongs on this list. Number 82 and 81 action movies that I've always loved. After watching it, I end up appreciating a lot more, honestly, with 82 being Collateral, where Tom Cruise actually plays the bad guy here, and it is incredibly slick, surprising, like immersive, and just an incredible ride from beginning to end. You know, it's always so unpredictable what's going to happen throughout this movie. You're just so invested in what goes on. And 81 being Silence of the Lambs, which is movie I only needs an introduction, is cultural star Hannibal Lecter, who's one of the best villains of all time, where Anthony Hopkins still gives his best performance in this movie, and it's one of the most intensely unnerving and scary movies out there, so of course it had to be on this list. So I don't say much, but again, these movies are so good they just speak for themselves. Speaking of movies that just speak for themselves, at number 80 we have Toy Story. And the fact that it's number 80 is definitely surprising. And again, this list was not easy, my friends. This list was not easy. But on the game, as mentioned, how amazing the original Toy Story still is. Like, I mean, come on, it's Toy Story. One of the most beautifully heartfelt movies of all time. With some of the best interesting characters, with some of the best character arcs in any movie out there. Heartwarming, and just elements of what you can expect from Pixar, which, despite their up and down quality in 2010s, they definitely still prove from Inside Out 2 that they have that they can still have amazing emotions and incredible character arcs and just tug on the heartstrings. And the original Toy Story did just that, and still does to this day. Like, this is the reason why people still consider the original to be the best Pixar movie. And now we go from one story to another story, this time being an emotionally devastating live action movie, and that is Marriage Story. Yes, yeah, I Am Marriage Story at number 79, and this movie is just heartbreaking to deep breaky tea. That might not make much sense, but this movie is definitely heartbreaking. One, of course, like, Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson give some of their best performances in this movie. Like, they probably give them the best performances, prove that they have incredible talent that can really do so much pure emotion. And like, storytelling, what they're going through, and divorce and everything is just pretty tragic, and a lot of the real elements that come from being divorced and just losing a lot of love from each other and everything. Like that fight scene, which it's weird that people will use that fight scene to describe, oh, this is not real acting. Like, really? Yeah, there was a time when people considered that fight scene, which is probably the most iconic scene in this movie, and one of the most emotionally gut-punch scenes of all time. Like, oh, this is not acting, this is just yelling, this is not true acting. That was weird that was a thing when this movie came out, but yeah. Marriage Story is still fantastic, has so many beautiful moments. Like that scene when Adam Driver actually sings, like, another scene that lives rent-free in my head. Now we go to that Pixar movie. Yes, we're going to have talking about 4 Pixar movies already. But yeah, next up we have Coco. I've always loved Coco, but I feel like the more I watch Coco, the more it has gotten up on my ranking. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm always just a sucker for a good message about family. And this one has that message went all over it, where of course wrapping it too shoved in your face. Honestly, and the message it has for the music and family and living your dreams and all the hardships about life. Like this is Pixar at the top tier emotion again. And a lot of people were really excited for Coco because they thought it was a rip off the Book of Life, but it ends up being, it's one thing that's got a lot more love in recent years, and for good reason. It is a truly beautiful movie with incredible animation, some of the most beautiful animation Pixar has done, which is saying something. Miguel being one of the best protagonists in this scene, and an actual good twist villain, an actual interesting twist villain, and just so many great back and forth, and just it's just me that always just puts a big man face and always just getting grabs heartstrings and just I really stop doing that. But yeah, Coco's just, and yeah, again, that scene of Lloyd saying "Remember Me." Oh yeah, I'm getting teary just thinking about that scene. But yeah, Coco, another Pixar masterpiece. The Matrix, and I'm saying 7. Yeah, I don't think I need to say more. Like, it's the fucking Matrix. The Matrix! And we don't actually have this movie about the Matrix, but we got the first MCU movie on this list, which I'm pretty sure none of you are surprised that the MCU was going to make this list, because after I love the MCU, at least I love their, in the fact that they've been so up and down, since at the end game, but they can still pull out some bangers, which you definitely will see on this list. But at 76, we got Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which was going to be like a true game-changing film in the MCU at the time, and for good reason. Because it has a more interesting tone, a more serious tone, and to a way that it could have a little bit more stakes involving like some characters. It still hits with the incredible action set pieces, great character moments, great back and forth between a lot of cast. One of the best fight sequences of the MCU were the Captain vs. Bucky scene, and just delivering just pure emotion and actual great stakes, as there's some aspects to have lasting impacts at the MCU. Again, I've always loved Winter Soldier, and I always love coming back to this movie over and over and over again. Oh, you left! But yeah, honestly, I love the Winter Soldier. You know what was crazy when I did my original top 100 films of all time, like 5 years ago? Around the time, I did not watch any Studio Ghibli movies. Yes, I have not watched Studio Ghibli. I think I watched a couple of their movies, but I never watched all of their movies in full. And, but yet, when COVID hit, obviously hit in 2020, yeah, but obviously when COVID hit in 2020, I decided to watch all the movies. I also watched the James Bond movies for the first time. At least the ones that aren't damn Craig ones. And I watched all the Studio Ghibli ones. Studio Ghibli. Well, guess what? Some of the movies ended up also making this last year, with number 75 going to Only Yesterday, which is an incredibly beautiful movie that has some of the most poignant moments you ever watched in an animated movie. And I'm saying for being Kiki's Loser, it's one of the most simple, one of the most feel-good movies you will ever watch. Like the definition of a comfort movie. Interesting, I had this movie much higher on this list, but it's not that the movie went down for me. It's just my opinions of other movies went up, honestly. And number 73 is The Fabelmans. But yeah, no Steven Spielberg made this list, of course, and this one being kind of a little bit of biographical of his life, and you can really feel that passion, like Spielberg's like passion for filmmaking and everything, and what he has gone through in his life, and you really feel a lot of that emotion with the whole filmmaking aspect, and I always got to towards I'm always looking for films that basically have like showing the love of filmmaking and what you can really bring to a family and all the troubles it also can bring. And this movie hits all that stuff like a ton of bricks. Like I had a big romantic surround, but also I was feeling so much emotion and passion. Like you really feel the passion. You really, really feel it. And now at 72, we get to another animated movie. This one actually not coming from Pixar Studio Ghibli, and it's also an album that came out in 2022. And that is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Probably, in my opinion, the best Guillermo del Toro movie, honestly. All his outgrading movies, I think a lot of them actually in the Miss Marvel mentions, if I remember correctly. He was on the Annie and Kid film off a rewatch series at some point, but all in all, this movie just shows his best work, honestly. And for a year that had 3 Pinocchio movies, to be honest, 2 of them kind of shitty, with the Paul Show one and especially the Disney live action one, which I think is the worst Disney Channel live action remake. This one is by a landslide the best, and obviously it's on this list. It's a movie that, honestly, the more I watch it, the more I connect with the storytelling, the really mature and emotional themes, the incredible music, the outstanding stop-motion animation. That's just, I remember being so blown away by it when I first watched it, and I still am blown away by it. Just, like, again, you feel so much heart and passion towards it, because I know Guillermo del Toro one, there's like, I've been a passion project of his for years, if I remember correctly. And you really feel that passion. And it's movie that also, again, has good voice acting, has incredibly emotional moments that surprise the hell out of me, moments that still live rent free in my head, just, oh man! And then from 71 to 76, now moving into 3 generally classic movies that I'm guaranteed are going to make any like top 100 list. And after 2 of these movies did not actually end up making my list, I think it's well because I forgot to include them, or I didn't know if you rewatched them in a while, so, but now that I have, and 71 I have John Carpenter's The Thing. I also eventually do plan on watching a lot of the guys' filmography at some point, but The Thing is a classic and incredibly tense movie that just delivers on the amazing effects, the great characters. Just like it's the definition of just pure tense filled. Oh, and truly some of the best sequences in any horror movie. Period. Number 7, we get actually a film that I totally blanked on, honestly, and that is the original Godfather. Yes, Godfather ended up making this list. Probably might have been one, if not the best mob movie of all time. It's like it still inspired a lot of mob movies, and for good reason. Despite being an incredibly long movie, it is still an incredible experience, and it still holds up as surprisingly well on despite at least like bombs in the 70s. And then of course, 69, we got the original Terminator. Oh my god, Terminator's only 69 again. Let's really easy, folks. But I still love the original Terminator. It's an incredible movie for a reason. It brought Arnold Schwarzenegger to the limelight. Limelight has some incredibly scary, intense-filled sequences. And of course, the iconic "I'll be back" it's still ramping in my mind. The incredible tense sequences, the great character arcs, the incredibly emotional, poignant moments. Like, again, this movie is just incredible. And I don't think, no matter how much they try, I don't think any Terminator was ever going to top these two movies. Like, no. Oh boy, this is probably going to be the biggest hot take on this list. Honestly, because, I think, this film already made the list. I don't know if it actually made the actual list, or if it was just close to making the top 50. But yes, so seriously, I got The Force Awakens. Yes, I have the goddamn Force Awakens here. I'm saying that because obviously people have gone down on this movie ever since, obviously, what happened with Last Jedi and Red Skywalker, and that's totally fair. Like, I'm not saying people feel. I understand why. And of course, there's some who's like, oh, I wish this actually had a payoff. And the payoffs we actually did get Red Skywalker were not that great. But I can still have fun with this movie. I can still have that same great joy that I did when I first watched it in the theaters in 2015. Like, I literally adored every single aspect of this movie. It's an incredibly amazing sci-fi movie with incredible action, great interesting characters. And while it may be familiar to New Hope, it still delivers so much on the nostalgia and the pure emotion. Motion, and it's not like, and one of the kind of start a whole nostalgia way that Star Wars ended up going for. This one is your instance where I think it's done right. Find out we got incredible action, great some of the best space battles in the old Star Wars, and some really interesting characters that you kind of want to be invested in. So yeah, overall, despite the fact that also Last Jedi and The Force Awakens end up, this movie. And I think Last Jedi will actually end up missing this list, actually, but The Force Awakens is still one of the best Star Wars movies in my opinion. Even despite what happened. But yeah, I still love this movie. And now we are back discussing another trilogy on this list. And so yeah. Like I said, I did have some movies that ended up being tied on this list, or I thought to put like a whole trilogy as a whole entry because that way the list would be a little more interesting. I say that because I know I have a lot of Pixar and MCU movies coming later, but that's beside the point. But 67, I have the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy from the original 2010 to the second one 2014 and the Hidden World in 2019. While the original I would say How to Train Your Dragon 2 is probably my favorite, I still cannot deny how incredible the other two ones, so I had to include it as a trilogy. Because all three of them are still incredible movies. Again, the fact that we had that trilogy to end up rivaling Shrek was incredible at the time, honestly. I think company that came before this, but the film only wasn't as appreciated until after the second movie. But again, beside the point. But yeah, the original How to Train Your Dragon trilogy is still an incredible series of movies that it's surprising they ended up being as good as it was. Because the first one, from what I got, didn't really have the best marketing campaign, and the fact that it ended up being as incredibly emotional, poignant as it is, with one of the best relationships in film history with Two Foots and Hiccup, the fact that it ended up being as good as it was, just wow. And the sequel really ramps up the dark tension and the dark moments. Moment has some of the most emotionally devastating sequences ever. And the Hidden World, probably my least favorite, still has some incredible moments and has a beautiful, poignant ending. And there's a franchise that actually ends, even though I know we're getting like a remake at some point next year, if I remember correctly. But in terms of this franchise, they actually decided to end it, which I am happy for. And now we're going to talk about two Disney movies on this list, with number 66 going to The Emperor's New Groove, which We all can agree it's probably the funniest Disney movie of all time. Has so many incredible sequences, like the waterfall sequence that lives in my head, and everything from like Kronk and Yzma and the fourth wall breaks, this movie is just pure hilarious from beginning to end. People call it the funniest Disney movie for a reason. And then got the 65 with the original Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast. Belle's my favorite, and Belle's always been my favorite Disney princess, and she's an incredible character. And her relationship with Beast was pretty important and interesting. You know, the ornaments are great. The music is still iconic to this day. Like I'm pretty sure Waltzing like Beauty and the Beast, so these songs still incredible to this day, and yeah, easily has one of the best Disney attractions out there. Again, that ballroom scene is just pure perfection. And now we get to why I played the first Christopher Nolan, just because of course you can't have like a best movie that handles accolades like some Christopher Nolan's on this list. I think I have a couple of my own mentions, remember correctly, but at 54 we have The Prestige. A movie that I've always loved, but I feel it's gotten a lot better for me upon rewatches, and it's a very interesting and engaging movie that just really grips you and just never lets go. We got Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale delivering like all-time great performances in this movie. Got some incredible effects, special effects, incredible magic sequences, and a twist that really makes you rethink what goes on. Like it basically has all the makings of what you expect from Christopher Nolan at this point, and I feel it's a film that's just best to watch, not knowing much about it. And it's a film that I get so invested and intensified every single time I watch it. Now, then we get to an underrated gem. I feel it's gotten a lot more love recently, but it's a film I've always really enjoyed, and that is 50-50. 50-50, which you can't just don't know what 50-50 is. It's basically a movie that was in 2011, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Seth Rogen. And it's basically a movie that actually, despite being a comedy, tells a very emotional story about cancer. Yes, a comedy that's about cancer. And surprisingly, it's actually very tasteful and doesn't like make fun of that subject, because obviously cancer is a very serious subject. So you need to find a little bit of a thin line between that. But I think they actually delivered that thin line, because I mean obviously on this list, so obviously it is a thin line. Because I mean all it manages to be like hilarious and hilarious, having some of the most funny lines I've heard in any comedy. But when it gets to the heartfelt emotional moments, like that car scene, honestly, like, that gets me every time. Or Joseph Gordon-Levitt, in my opinion, still his best performance that he has given. Like, incredible top tier performance in that movie. Like, truly incredible stuff. Incredible. Even Seth Rogen gets the best performance as well. He gets some pretty hilarious moments from him, but even he can be pretty serious. And you get nice little films and character for which he got a little bit famous. With he and Joel actually a very realistic relationship actually throughout the movie. A movie that is afraid to get hilarious, and it's weird that when it's hilarious, it actually is hilarious, but when it's serious, emotional, it actually works. Like it's hard to find that. Like sometimes it's pretty hard to find a line between like comedy and drama and emotion. And I think Fitch Pretty is one of those examples that does it pretty well. And now we get to number 2. We get to actually another Disney movie on this list, and that is Aladdin, a film I've always loved, a film I've always enjoyed, and I've always had a special place in my heart for Aladdin. I've loved this so much, and of course, not just about the Robin Williams, the genius, one of the best supporting characters ever. His line still hits to this very day. But other than that, you get a pretty touching story with Aladdin and Jasmine being probably one of the best couple in any Disney movie, in my opinion. Having great secrets together, having beautiful moments. Like, Whole New World is still probably the best duet that we have gotten from a Disney song that we've gotten, like, in my opinion at least. Like, very beautiful moments, very sincere moments, incredible action set pieces. Just a lot of great back and forth throughout. One movie will be hilarious, it's very good, pretty emotional. It has one of the most sweet and emotional endings that we have gotten at Disney from a Disney movie. And you also got Jafar and Yanko being some of the best villains in any Disney movie, in my opinion. Like, not sure why I say I put them, but I know they're definitely high up on my favorite Disney villains list. But it's an interesting, great adventure movie, which is a lot of heart and charm. And now at 61, we get to the movie that I think is actually the best sports film of all time, and that's Rocky. First off, it pains me that I put it at number 61 on this list, and 2, I don't think I need to say more about Rocky. Like, what can I say about it has already been said? It's the best sports movie for a reason. And now at 60, we get to what I think is probably my favorite Martin Scorsese movie. Yeah, it is probably the last Martin Scorsese movie and my favorite of his. This one's always been my favorite, honestly, and it's iconic one that I don't need to say more. Taxi Driver. Yeah, I always loved Taxi Driver, but I don't think I forgot how much I appreciated and loved it till I rewatched all his movies I watched all his movies last year, and like man, it was an incredible experience and a movie that still represents iconic to this very day. Like that theater scene and that ending just they still get me every time. And now we go to another MCU movie, and that is Captain America: Civil War. Yeah, people had President 59, but Civil War I think is still an incredible movie. And I remember I watched the movie constantly when it came out. I remember the movie was like I mean I watched it over and over and over again when it came out. The movie I still think it's still obviously one of the best MCU movies. I mean it's obviously on this list, but yeah, I think a lot of people definitely have a lot issues with the movie nowadays, more so with the size between Captain America and Iron Man. Like, oh, none of them on the right, and I don't understand the reasonings. And I think that's why the reason is actually very perfectly in this movie. Where you can see why Iron Man, Tony Stark would think that it's the right way, and why Captain America thinks the right way, and it makes their back and forth and the eventual Civil War actually manageable and actually, reasonable. I always said this movie that this is basically the movie that Batman and Superman Dawn of Justice should have been, because it has a lot of the same themes and a lot of the same aspects. Probably why those movies are comparable. Right now, you got the Zemo, who I think for the longest time before Dance was probably my favorite villain, honestly, which is pretty impressive and impressive how he was actually what had to do with the Avengers. You also get two of the best action set pieces in the MCU with the airport sequence and the Cap versus Tony Cap and Bucky versus Tony sequence that still hits like a ton of bricks. The scene, and of course they introduced Black Panther and Spider-Man, and they're integrating incredibly well into this movie, as well, with some great moments as well, which shows a lot of tensions with their moods and their characters. Also, Chad Boseman, may rest in peace. But Civil War, I still love. It's still one of the best MCU movies, definitely top 5. It's very weird to talk about this movie nowadays because, well, that's more the argument itself, but I'm going to talk about Harry Potter on this list, because there are 2 Harry Potter movies that did end up making this list. One will be a little bit later on this list, spoilers. But the next one we'll talk about is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which, aside from the number we talk about, is usually talked about as the best Harry Potter movie, and it's not hard to see why. First off, it has the best cinematography of any Harry Potter movies, because Alfonso Cuarón is an incredible cinematographer. These movies, how he makes the movie look and directed are just incredible. You get some of the most pure emotion out of these moments, whenever involving Sirius Black and everything. You get some incredible action set pieces, an incredible finale. Some ultimate great moments, especially with Hermione punching Draco. Some great magic moments, some great emotional moments, some great acting moments throughout. And it kind of starts to have the dark tone of the films that I'm going for in later movies, because while the first 2 movies I still love, of course, they're more like kid-friendly type of movies. This one was kind of more setting that tone that the later movies go for. And Red Afghan is still one of the best for a damn reason. And now at number 7, we get to another superhero movie on this list. Again, a lot of superhero movies, but yeah. Number 7, we have The Batman. The Robert Pattinson Batman. Yes, this movie ended up making my best all-time list. I never debated where I wanted to put Batman, honestly. Like, it definitely was up near where I wanted to put this movie. But I decided to put it in this spot. Because again, The Batman is an incredible movie. Like, it delivers what people really wanted from Batman for a while now. Like, it has some of the best elements Batman has put on screen. Like, Robert Pattinson delivering an all-time great Batman performance. And, Bruce Wayne as well. This is a prime example of this film is the prime example on, hey, you can have multiple villains in a superhero movie, just make sure they're balanced properly. I mean, hell, you got freaking the Penguin with the unbelievable performance of Colin Farrell. You got Catwoman with Zoe France, my opinion, delivering the best Catwoman that we have gotten. And Paul Dano just knocking out of the park as the Riddler, delivering a more sinister version of the character, but I like that version of the character, honestly. I like the fact that they did a more sinister version instead of the more, like, goofy version that he's known for. Again, it's a different take on the character, which I really enjoyed. And the mystery is great. Despite the film being very long, it doesn't feel long, honestly, because of the pacing. Gotham is the most realized it's ever been on screen. Not saying any of the previous movies haven't done Gotham very well on screen, but this one definitely makes you feel like, oh, this is a bad place. Yeesh. 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 Yikes. Right now, he also gives a great action set pieces as well. You get the great lore building, it's a great story potential, and you also got the great from Jeff Wright delivering great as Christopher Gordon, and you get great performances and a great vibe, and just what you expect from Batman, just in a more dark place, and it delivers. And it makes me incredibly excited to see whenever they're going to get part 2, and how they're going to tune this with the of course, how they're going to change with the Penguin show. But that's kind of this year, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to experience more of this world. Thank God James Gunn is still continuing this, thank God. Oh, thank God they're still continuing this, thank God. And now we're going to get to a next time for this segment, and we're talking about 2 Christmas movies. Yeah, we're talking about some Christmas movies. But one could barely be my favorite movie, and be my favorite Christmas movie of all time, but one I decided to put, since it's no Christmas movie, I decided to also put it on time on this list, and that is Elf and Home Alone. 2 of the most iconic Christmas movies of all time, and for good reason. Like, I don't even talk about how great these movies are. Elf's always been a movie that I loved and enjoyed growing up. It's a movie that still brings me a lot of smiles to this very day. Still, in my opinion, has Phil's best performance. As well, a very, very charming character, very charming moments. Just a film that's filled with so much heart and just brings you into a Christmas spirit. And they got Home Alone, which is an iconic movie still for a freaking reason, with the vibes and the kid being them outdo his Master D's, which is pretty hilarious. How he's able to actually outsmart them, which makes for some pretty hilarious moments. Just definitions of movies that really bring you into the Christmas spirit. There's something strange in the neighborhood. Who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters! Ghostbusters! Yeah, I forgot how great the original Ghostbusters until I rewatched it earlier this year with Frozen Empire coming out this year. I rewatched all the films, and I forgot how great the original is. Still one of the best films of all time, still one of the best themes of all time, still one of the best group of characters of all time. I believe between 40 this year, it's just like, why does... Number 54, I have Jaws, the film that basically brought the summer blockbuster to life. I'm still stunned, that's why I'm talking like this, but Jaws is still incredible. Of course, I had to put Jaws somewhere in this list, and still the Dylan Seals movie you'll see on this list. An incredible still film that's still very tensified and still delivers the great thrills and the characters to this very day. There's a reason why this film protects the summer blockbusters. No, okay, I'm good. Now number 53 and 52 against 2 movies that I don't think I need much introduction because I don't think there's really much to talk about because they are iconic movies for a reason. With 53 being Christopher Nolan's magnum opus Inception, which is one of the most like freaky and insane and just mind-bending films of all time. But the reason why people still talk about it today, why films still reference and the film is still influenced by a lot of movies to this very day. And 52, I'm going to a movie that I'm not going to talk about because they said to never talk about it. So I'm just going to post right here and say it's amazing. My favorite David Fincher movie. I love Fight Club. Oh, I don't know! And now we're getting to a movie that just missed out on the actual top 50, which is fortunate, but you know, that's where I go when we try to make a best all-time list. But yeah, at 51, we got the original Scream, the film that basically changed horror movies for the good and the better. And I absolutely love Scream. I think it is an incredible movie. I think Scream, for those who know, Scream is actually my favorite horror franchise of all time, and I pretty much love all the movies in this series, honestly, even the third one, even the recent ones. And the original is still, in my opinion, still the best, honestly. Honestly, like, it still delivers the great scares, the great thrills, like, it delivers what you expect from this type of genre, and while, of course, poking fun about the horror tropes, which I think do pretty effectively here. Still has probably in the Bailey one of the best horror openings in any horror movie, period. Like, honestly, probably the best opening period in a horror movie. Like, again, that's still in debate, but it's definitely up there. Like, it's an incredible horror movie for a reason. I don't think I need to say anymore. Well, folks, we have reached the top 50. Hope you all have been enjoying this list. I've honestly been enjoying talking about a lot of these movies. But in the short long, I really enjoyed top level movies that really mean a lot to me. Again, this list wasn't easy. Because at number 50 and number 49, we're going to talk about Spider-Man! Spider-Man, 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 Spider-Man. Who again doesn't know? Spider-Man is my personal favorite superhero of all time. So of course some of his movies are going to make this list, with number 50 being the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, which was the film that introduced me to Spider-Man. This was the film that made me a Spider-Man fan. This will introduce me to the character, what brought me into this world and everything, and it's still, that's why he's cheesy, it still holds up pretty well, and I still love all the journey that Tony Ryan goes through, and what goes on with these characters. Like, it's a pretty effective Spider-Man origin story. And I'm actually having a tie at 49, as I'm including both Spider-Verse movies, Into Spider-Verse and Across Spider-Verse. Mostly because I can't really figure out which one I like more on Slack. Like, for a while I thought it was Across Spider-Verse, but Into Spider-Verse, like, both of them are still incredible movies. Like, I'm still debating which one I enjoyed more, honestly, because both of them are truly incredible Spider-Man movies. Again, movies that basically are like love letters to Spider-Man, love letters to the character, love letters to what this type of character displayed. And Spider-Verse basically introduced to Miles Morales. Again, 2018 is basically what really got people into Miles Morales. I don't think he really was, like, I don't know, like, I think he was a brilliant character before, but I don't think he was really popular until Into Spider-Verse until Into Spider-Verse and Spider-Man 2018 came out. But yeah, they're becoming a very popular character after this movie. I agree. I think the Spider-Man movies are way more simple stories. They're not like groundbreaking Spider-Man stories. Again, they still work and they still feel like love letters to the character, along with having some of the most breathtaking and incredible animation you've ever seen in any movie. In any Spider-Man movie, you got incredible use of the Spider-Man lore, and the Spider-Mans they bring here are fantastic. Fantastic the way they had to work on these characters and develop their characters and what they're going through, and a lot of the emotions they go through and everything, and how, and it feels basically like it's just a love letter to Spider-Man. Well, the films do have fan service. It's fan service that does well and doesn't deviate from the actual story. So yeah, the original Spider-Man is 50. And I decided to just go and just put both Spider-Man movies at 4 next. I can't decide which one I enjoy more, but both of them are fantastic. And now we get to another Edgar Wright movie on this list, and that is my favorite of the Cornetto trilogy, and that is Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead! Shaun of the Dead! Oh, so bad, my favorite zombie movie. It's my favorite. Yeah, I think it's my favorite zombie movie of all time, and I mean that's the start of the Cornetto trilogy, which is kind of an unofficial trilogy with this, Hot Fuzz and the World's End, kind of World's End, and the honorable mentions, and then Hot Fuzz is also on this list, at like A3. So of course I include Shaun of the Dead here, honestly. Like, I could include the whole trilogy, honestly, but I don't kind of include, but there's one case where I decided, screw it, let's just do a couple of them separate. And Shaun of the Dead, I don't think is a fantastic movie. That's an incredible zombie movie. That's an incredible package. Delivering on the scares, but also delivering on the great comedy, and that's wit that Edgar Wright is known for. And this really was the movie that put Edgar Wright on the map, especially with the sharp editing. Like, it proves that he does movies in so incredibly great fashion that makes movies so engaging to watch. Like, these movies prove that how editing can really make a movie. Now, at number 47, we have the original The Karate Kid. It's crazy it's now 4 years since The Karate Kid came out, and this film's always been a classic because it's not even more classic thanks to the Cobra Kai series that came out that really makes a lot of elements of the movie feel so much more appreciated, so much more like valued and loved, because it's a very simple story with Daniel obviously just getting into it with Johnny Lawrence and finding out that this old guy actually does teach karate and to teach him karate and everything, and leads to a big fight sequence in the end. Like, it's a very simple story, but it's one that works because you do feel for the characters, you do invest what goes on, you get some iconic sequence, the whole wax off sequence, and the whole final fight in general with the crane kick. It's incredible stuff. And while Johnny we feel like he's a generic bad guy, he does have his moments. But again, it's basically what happens in Cobra Kai and everything that really elevates a lot of elements of this movie, makes him really more impressive and really more emotional. honestly. So it makes, so yeah, yeah, the TV series that appears like years later makes the original film that was always considered a classic so much better in hindsight. So of course I had to include the original. So of course I had to include Crack Kids somewhat on this list because it is a classic. And now we get to what's my favorite Denis Villeneuve movie, and that is Arrival. I remember when I saw this movie at a screen in 2016, and I remember not really much about it, but the movie kind of blew me away when I first saw it, and I'm still blown away to this day because it is an incredible movie that has an incredible tone, incredible cinematography, just use the best elements of Denis Villeneuve in his movies. They're one of these movies I would say aren't the most rewatchable. They are the most, when they are the right, yeah, I'll admit, his movies aren't the most rewatchable movies in the world, and what I can't go for rewatchability. I can't deny how incredible Arrival is, honestly, every time I do watch it, and how better it gets on rewatch. I still think Amy Adams gives her best performance here. Even Jay Rennick gets one of his best performances here as well. Is it basically an alien invasion movie that really isn't an alien invasion movie? Basically just no action and no like explosions. It's a very down to earth, more grounded movie that has a lot of great twists and turns. Avengers assemble for the Infinity War! And just like that, Infinity War and 45. Again, Infinity War is still amazing and basically a culmination of 10 years of the MCU. And imagine, also, the fact that they're able to balance and juggle so many characters, so many people in this movie is insane. Obviously, some people go than others, but they're still able to balance them pretty well is incredible to witness. And in spite of going back and forth and everything, they still managed to get a person a good amount of screen time. You get a lot of great back and forth against the Guardians being like Tony Stark, Spider-Man, just incredible. And the fact that some of that shit are probably still relevant in the MCU is still pretty incredible. This Thanos is probably the best MCU villain, honestly. That definitely was debated what Thanos was going to actually deliver as the big bad, and he does. Again, the movie is basically Thanos' movie. He basically is the main character, it's just everyone's just kind of following to him, honestly. He's really a compelling and layered villain. Of course, the line he says to Stark, "You have my respect, Stark. I hope they remember you." That line still gets me, of course. And of course, the death scene happens later on involving him just still hits like a ton of bricks. Just that he's a very layered villain. And he also got some best elements of the characters with Tony Stark, Cap, the Guardians themselves, Spider-Man. Like, he also gets some incredible action set pieces, like in the Titan battle, and the Wakanda battle is amazing. And well, yeah, Chris Star-Lord is pretty much an idiot in this movie, but it still makes for some pretty great moments. And Snap, despite I know we know all of them come in the next movie, it's still incredible moments. And now we get to my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie, and that is Unbreakable. And I knew Unbreakable was going to be somewhere on this list, and Unbreakable still is an incredible movie, honestly. It's still, and this Bond film always will be the best thing M. Night Shyamalan has ever done, honestly. Again, this guy that's filmmaking career goes very back and forth, honestly, like really back and forth. But he's still when he's good, he's really good, and this is definitely an example. Again, basically a superhero movie that's not a superhero movie, but basically what if Superman lands on Earth and doesn't know he's Superman. It means there's some pretty emotional, incredible moments where Bruce Willis, in my opinion, is still giving his best performance of his entire career. Even still, I think this is probably Samuel Jackson's best performance in general as well, as Elijah. And all the missing of Grand Ford, a lot of the great character moments, J. New Howard's incredible score, which is one of the best scores of all time in my opinion. The incredible cinematography, the great takes, the great back and forth between a lot of the characters, the great emotion. Like, doing it, like, Unbreakable is still an incredible superhero masterpiece. That, well, it's not technically a superhero movie, it really delivers a lot of the emotion that you expect. The fact that we did get a continuation with Splitting Glass, honestly, many years later after this, it's still incredible, and definitely makes the movie a lot better, honestly. Even if glasses end, even if glasses end in this point way. And now we get to another superhero movie, and that is Logan. Still, in my opinion, the best X-Men movie, and even in spite of what happened to Deadpool Wolverine, this movie still hits like a ton of bricks. Even the fact that this is not a huge performance, he still gets the best performance of his career in this movie. Again, the fact that we finally get a hard R Wolverine movie in this movie is amazing to witness. Like, the obviously alone you knew in for a wild ride. Patrick Stewart also gets his best performance as Professor X. Daphne Keane delivers a great performance as Laura, who bond with Logan, just incredible to witness throughout the movie. The action sequences are great, the emotion, like it's basically like a superhero movie, like this movie is basically best described as like a superhero version of The Last of Us, because it does have like very similar themes and tone, which honestly you can kind of see that honestly, but that's honestly a compliment to the movie. It's basically it's kind of like a movie version of The Last of Us, just in the X-Men world, and I can definitely see what people mean by that. It does have a lot of similar tones and themes, but it delivers on those themes very well. Again, that forest fight sequence and of course what happens at the end still hits me to this very day. So of course, despite what happens in Deadpool Wolverine, which by the way, as a film right now is actually my favorite movie of the year so far, but it doesn't like deteriorate from that movie is amazing. Fast. Now we get to another Disney movie on this list. I told you there's gonna be a lot of Disney movies on this list, but we get to another favorite of mine, that is Lilo and Stitch. It's pretty nice we're actually going to get a remake, honestly, which obviously I'm not excited for. Even I kind of know the Stitch that actually looks pretty good, actually, but like, why a Lilo and Stitch remake of all things? Why? You know, I would complain about this remakes and also the fact that it should make movies that actually are deserving remakes, but that's a topic for another day. But Lilo and Stitch, despite it being like a crazy alien invasion movie and a crazy like sci-fi insane movie, it's probably one of the most grounded Disney movies they have ever done, with everything that Lilo goes through and her sister and everything, and all the emotional that they went through and all the heartbreak they went through. Like, those scenes really hit. Like, there's a lot of scenes that are kind of memeable and of course kind of just reference a lot, because they really do mean a lot. And it pained me to put this movie at 42, but that's how hard this list was, guys. But yeah, Lilo and Stitch is still an incredible movie with, well, it does have some hilarious moments, so great characters, and Lilo and Stitch have one of the best heroes in Disney history, in my opinion. The supporting cast still delivers as well. The action is great when it's there. When it hits those grounded emotional moments, it really delivers. And now at 41, we get to the next Harry Potter movie I mentioned that was going to be on, that has always been my favorite Harry Potter movie, and that is the finale, Deathly Hallows Part 2. And while it is definitely interesting that they decided to split the last book into two parts, which started a trend that definitely died out pretty quickly, but Devil Part 2 still is delivered, as it is a great, satisfying finale to this franchise. So, well, I don't know, it might make it more frequent in the future, even by, you know, everything involved J.K. Rowling, which again, always makes Harry Potter so hard to talk about nowadays. But again, that's a story for another day. But Devil Part 2 is definitely an incredible finale that's always been my favorite, because it is a very emotional finale. As the characters have satisfying ends to their characters, the ending still gets me to this very day. It's still my favorite moment in any Harry Potter movie. But the final battle is great by it being a kind of quick fight, but it still is very satisfying, and the emotional moments that involving Snape in this movie is just incredible and makes you really rethink his character. Just perfection. Now, number 40 is probably the weirdest time on this list, because both these movies couldn't be anyone similar. And it's both because I kind of forgot to put this movie on the list, one movie on this list, and I decided, and I was like, screw it. Basically, I have both the Lego Movie and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And I just dealt with it. I decided, what the heck. Like, first off, the Lego Movie. Probably one of the most surprising movies on this list, as I was not expecting to love the Lego Movie as much as I did. Honestly, I don't think anybody did, honestly. And the movie ended up becoming like a huge rousing success, and fortunately caused one of the biggest franchise sinks in quite a while. Biggest sinks of a franchise in like a while, because obviously they end up like overdoing themselves with just like a few movies, and of course, yeah. The Lego Movie still is a very charming movie that takes a lot of the feeling elements from what you expect from the Chosen One story and manages to poke fun at it. Managed to do a really engaging story with really interesting characters. Great humor, great use of the fan service done very well, great world building, and to me that has so much charm and energy too, you can't help but smile and laugh. And I'm saying that's kind of similar to Scott Pilgrim, honestly, that it's more video game references than anything. Like, it's basically kind of like a lot of references to video games, a lot of nods to video games, but it's done in the best possible way. Honestly, because you got Scott Pilgrim basically trying to defeat the 7 evil exes, and the show are more fun and interesting than the last. Like, the vegan one still gets me every time I watch it. And for a long time, it's one of my favorite Ryan movie actually. Despite how much I love the Narrative Trilogy, Scott Pilgrim always been my favorite, mostly because of how many times I rewatched it, how many times I've gone back to it. Of course, one movie didn't have Tommy, which we'll get into, but Scott Pilgrim definitely is a very charming movie that puts a big grin on my face. and I still love coming back to this movie to this day. And now at number 39 and 38 are two movies that are very, although of course are classics that of course I don't think it's very much to say about them because they are classic for a reason. But pretty think why they're only at number 39 and 38 on this list. Again, this list wasn't easy, folks. I know I keep saying it, but this list wasn't easy, folks. But at 39, I got The Shining. One of the best horror movies of all time. Johnny Nicholson's incredible performance. Also shows you all, may he rest in peace. May she rest in peace. Here's Johnny! Still one of the most best horror moments to this day. Again, and despite not being like anything involving obviously Stephen King's adaptation, it's still an incredibly effective movie. It's crazy how though it was actually criticized when they first aired, but now it's still a horror classic like 44 years later, but that's because it is. And of course we got Back to the Future, back to the future. 2 ideas saying it better in the future. It's an incredible movie. With great characters, great iconic lines that still run to this very day. It's like a classic for a reason. And now we are going to get to another trilogy at 37, and that is the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. Yes. The Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. As I include in this entry, which again, I love Guardians of the Galaxy. This is, in my opinion, probably the best franchise that has been achieved from the MCU, aside from the Avengers, obviously. So the first one really was a surprise hit. Like, it kind of came out of nowhere 10 years ago, and it kind of like a huge rousing success with the characters. I think I characters that are more unknown characters and managed to amplify them to cult status, which is something that James Gunn seems to do incredibly well. Honestly, he's taking like unknown characters and making them into like all cultural icons and incredible characters to watch and witness. He did with also Volume 2, but also Suicide Squad, and pretty much every movie he has done, honestly, which makes what he's going to do with his other movies more interesting. Especially with his Superman movie coming out next year, which I'm very excited for, actually. But the original Guardians of the Galaxy, it's still fantastic, still one of the best MCU movies, still delivers on the charm and the humor. The soundtrack is fantastic. Star-Lord, Gamora, Rocket, Drax, and Groot are all fantastic characters. The action is great. The humor is just top tier. Like, this is MCU humor done right, in my opinion. Though this kind of like set the tone for a lot of MCU movies in terms of the humor, for better or for worse, depending on who you talk to. And there's Volume 2, which won't it be my least favorite and be a movie I've been so like back and forth about. I think the reasons what happened in Guardians 3 makes a lot of elements of this movie so much better. And now I'm like super high on this movie again. I think I put it pretty high on my best movies 2017 list now, even though I don't think it actually made my original list. That's just how good the movie is. Again, that death scene at the end still gets me. Again, Ego, I think, is a pretty underrated villain. Manchester, I think, is a pretty fun character. Again, it's a little bit mean street, I'm not gonna lie, but it still works. You still get that a lot of charm that you expect from the Guardians. The soundtrack is still great. The opening sequence is still great. Like, you get a lot of great charm and greatness that makes the original so good. And then you got Volume 3, which, I have to think about it, I think, in my opinion, is the best Guardians movie. Like, it's easy, in my opinion, a top 3 MCU movie. It was my favorite movie last year for a goddamn reason. Like, it definitely was bad, but it was my favorite movie of last year because of the emotion and how it actually sent out a lot of these characters and actually makes the stories, freaking end. Again, an incredible soundtrack, more incredible action, more incredible use of a lot of the characters. Again, I think the films they use here are actually pretty effective and pretty well done. How they decided to implement Rocket and this. Like, I've always thought Rocket was my favorite Guardian, honestly, but that movie really cemented it. But I still love characters like Star-Lord, and also what they did with Gamora in that movie. Drax definitely has his more interesting moments, and what they did with Nebula and other characters. It's pretty well done. And gives them those heart-wrenching emotional moments in any MCU movie. And some really dark moments as well. Like, you're surprised they actually put that in an MCU movie. But yeah, I love Guardians of the Galaxy movies. The trilogy, I think, is still fantastic. I'm One World. Sammy One World. And I'm talking about my favorite Bond movie, Casino Royale. Casino Royale is still my favorite Bond movie, and I appreciate so much more after having watched all the Bond movies a few years ago, because I don't think, aside from like maybe one Pierce Brosnan movie and one Sean Connery movie, I don't think I've ever watched any of the previous Bond movies except the Dan Craig ones. But when COVID hit, honestly, like the Studio Ghibli, I decided to watch all the Bond movies for the first time. in spite of it being a franchise that's very up and down with consistency and all that stuff, it definitely made me appreciate this franchise so much more. No more, I picture what this movie really spent because also it was a reboot of the franchise. This was starting off a new era of Bond, which I think still is still the best. I think Sea Royale is an incredible action set piece with having an amazing set piece. That's an amazing set piece. Darren Craig delivering the best performance of James Bond character, delivering a more story focused and interesting tone for this franchise that it's so incredible to witness and discover. So yeah, Sea Royale still kicks ass. And speaking of Studio Ghibli, we've got another movie Studio Ghibli on this list at 35, and that is one of their classics, Princess Mononoke. Again, I don't think as President has already been said, it's critically acclaimed for a goddamn reason. It's one of the most emotionally devastating movies on this list. It's a pretty interesting, engaging movie with incredible characters, really heart-pounding moments. The movie that delivers the perfect package of what you expect from a Ghibli movie at this point that I really enjoyed coming back to him. It's crazy I never watched that movie until I started watching Ghibli movies back in 2020, but I'm glad I did. And now we finally get to another Pixar movie here, and that is Toy Story 3, which for the longest time has always been my favorite Toy Story movie, honestly. I know a lot of people say the original, and I thought the original, hell, the original was on this list. Was it? Hell, the original was on this list along with Toy Story 2. That just shows how much I love this franchise. And the fact that Toy Story 4 wasn't as great as the previous ones is probably why I decided to put them all as a franchise in one entry, so that's how I'm going. It just depends on how you feel about all movies. I think they're worthy of being like one slot, or should I put them separately on this list? In case you guys have been wondering. But Toy Story 3, I think, is still an incredible movie that, despite the fact that I think it's pretty much going to be ruined, but kind of got a little bit ruined Toy Story 4, and also Toy Story 5, which again, why Toy Story 5? Like, why? Like, I know, it will surprise me, but I kind of doubt it at this point, but Toy Story 3 is incredible. We're delivering pure emotion, having some of the most emotionally poignant moments in any Pixar movie. There'll be some really scary moments in general, lots of being an incredible villain. Some really great back and forth between a lot of the characters. And again, delivering that pure emotion and heartwarming stuff that you would expect from this type of movie. And again, despite the fact that ending kind of got ruined a tad bit Toy Story 4 and 5, it still hits like 10 bricks. And now we're going for anime movie to another Spider-Man movie, and that is Spider-Man No Way Home. Yes, I have No Way Home on my best of all time list. And I never been what I wanted to purchase from on the list, but in the end, No Way Home is a movie that I really loved when I first saw it in theaters, and I think the love of the movie has gotten a little bit down over the time, considering, you know, the hype it was and some elements, but I've always loved No Way Home, and I still do love it. I still will be watching. I still love coming back to it. It doesn't line with nostalgia yet, but nostalgia done right. Again, maybe at the other Spider-Man was in pretty impressive detail that I really adored. And it actually added a lot more time on Spider-Man, what he goes through, and even back the other Raimi and other Garfield villains was definitely pretty impressive, and actually elevates those movies a bit more, elevates those stories a bit more. The action is fantastic, and the final battle is just incredible. The ending gets me every time, and it has generally some of the best Spider-Man moments ever. It's basically a live-action Spider-Verse movie done right. Again, also feel like a love letter to Spider-Man. And who knows what they're going to do continue on with the Spider-Man in later movies, but overall, at this movie, I'm very excited. And now we get to one of the more feel-good movies on the list, as we're already getting to another Studio Ghibli movie. Probably one of the most feel-good movies you will ever watch, My Neighbor Totoro. Like, this movie is just like a big, comforting hug. Like if you just want to feel comfort and warm and snuggy and fuzzy inside, it's definitely this movie. It's just one of the most feel-good movies on this list. That alone puts it to where it is on this list. It's always been a favorite Ghibli movie of mine ever since I first watched it, and it definitely still is. And now we're going to another Pixar movie. I told you a lot of Pixar movies that are going to be on this list. But yeah, number 31, we have Soul. Soul. Probably the most mature movie that Pixar has ever done. Like, their true, more mature film. And this came out of real hands, which is where my COVID came around. Like, this movie was so good, I watched it 5 or 6 times in 1 week. That's how much I loved Soul, how much it was my favorite that year. And it really gets better on how rewatches. Again, it's like the themes that really elevates it, you know. That thing like, oh my god, am I doing much in my life? Am I doing enough like this? Or am I wasting away certain things? And And if you do reach your dreams, is it going to be as fulfilling as you expect, or are you going to end up doing nothing with your life if you don't reach that point? Like, that's basically what the message is in the movie, and honestly, that's something I've still been dealing with a lot since that movie came out. Like it's one that Pixar really is known for. You know, if there was something that Pixar knows how to do extremely well, as you can tell from all the Pixar movies they talked about, is that they can really hit themes so incredibly well. So, as that when it comes to relatable themes and relatable moments and basic things that adults can relate to, connect to, he really delivered, and so is no exception. Of course, you get the usual humorous moments, the fun adventure aspects, and what does go in each direction. I still admire what this movie did, honestly. Again, it's the message itself is what put this movie to where it is on this list. Kicking off the top 30, we're getting there, people. The top 30, and that is another trilogy, and that is the rebooted Planet of the Apes trilogy. Basically, Rise, Dawn, and War of the Planet of the Apes. Again, another trilogy that is, out of all the trilogies I included here so far, this one is the most surprising. And why is it the most surprising? Because because it's a reboot of the Planet of the Apes franchise. Because the last reboot that we got before that, which was the Tim Burton one, yeah, people didn't have hopes for Rise when it came out. Like, people were like, oh no, the next movie is gonna be a reboot prequel. Like, oh my god, this is gonna suck. And if I'm quick, I don't think the trailers really sold that very well either, so that didn't really help. But Rise managed to be an incredibly surprisingly effective movie. And we really think that was again probably my least favorite of the trilogy. It still has incredible moments like that Golden Gate Bridge sequence, and of course he's actually yelling, "No!" It's still effective moments, so incredibly effective moments, and also they actually make the human characters actually pretty interesting, which is any type of movies you think would not be possible, but they actually do make it possible. Actually making the human characters incredibly impressive. Incredible characters. I like how also in Dawn of War, they don't have like one side on the right or on the wrong. Like, they could be easy to have like the humans be the bad guys and the apes be the good guys. But no. They just have really conflicting morals. Morals are just, and which makes it pretty interesting. And Joe makes Caesar probably one of the best protagonists in recent memory. And also Crow also one of the best villains that we have gotten. Again, Dawn really like elevates, somehow managed to be better than Dawn by having some incredible action set pieces. Again, apes on horses, how can you not enjoy that? Incredible third act, great action set pieces, and really emotional storytelling, which carried off with War being an incredibly emotionally end to Caesar's story. Definitely a pretty bleak movie, and probably not the most rewatchable Apes movie, but still an incredible masterpiece. And thankfully, when we got with Kingdom, I think the Apes franchise is on to a really great continuation, and thankfully they're not going to like ruin the legacy on that. But yeah, this is the trilogy that's surprising the most with how good it ended up being. Because I don't think anybody expected, I don't think anybody expected the first one to be good. Right, we got a freaking trilogy that ended up being one of the best trilogies of all time. For the freaking Planet of the Apes? Holy shit! And now we're gonna turn to a Spielberg movie, and no, in fact, we're gonna talk about two Spielberg movies for the price of one. Which number 29, going to E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Again, one of the more fun adventure movies on this list that obviously is still referenced to this day for good reason. It's a very charming, interesting movie that just, again, it's very simple on the surface, but it still delivers a lot of charm. Still holds up very well with the characters, still holds up very well with the storytelling. Yeah, it's referenced a lot to this very day, like that bike scene still is in my head. And number 28 being a movie that actually got down a lot on my ranking. I think it was actually in the top 10 at one point. But it's definitely a case where basically nothing about this movie changed. It's just I liked a lot of movies a lot more. Simple as that. And that's Saving Private Ryan, which I think all can agree is still the best war movie of all time. By its long length, has one of the most harrowing opening sequences of all time, has some incredible performances. Like, it's a movie that really showcases the brutalness of war. And as much as we try, I don't think any war movie is going to top this. Some tried, but they failed. Even we have gone great war movies. And look, we're getting to another Pixar movie! What a surprise! And there's still a couple more! Spoilers, by the way. Sorry. But yeah, we're getting to Monsters Inc. now. Monsters Inc. One of the most rewatchable movies on this list, a movie I've watched constantly since it came out, I've looked back on constantly, and it's still one of the most charming movies I've seen in my life. This is a movie I could just put on in the background, I could just put it on and I just instantly fall back in love with this world, and with Song and Mike, who are one of the best duos of all time. The world building is incredible, the messaging is great, the relationships are fantastic, the humor works very well, has one of the most emotional endings to any Pixar movie, and two of the best villains in Pixar movie with Warner and Randall. Just film that just puts a big on my face, but can also like just talk in my heart so that just that's an exaggeration, but that's really what Pixar does. Take your heart and smash it to a million pieces. Not literally, obviously, but that's just how well they are when it comes to living emotional, poignant moments. And now we get to another classic movie at the 26. I'm not sure whether people are going to be happy this movie's only 26. Again, I keep saying this wasn't easy, so I have Die Hard on 26. Like, I don't even mention, but Die Hard hasn't already been said. It's one of the best action movies of all time. Dracula's one of the best actors of all time. Incredible characters, incredible action set pieces, a movie that's still mean to reference to this day, a movie that's copied a lot to this day. And there's a reason why Die Hard is considered one of the action classics. I don't think I need to say anymore. And now we get to another Spider-Man movie, and that is Spider-Man 2, which is my personal favorite Spider-Man movie. I think No Way Home was my favorite for a while, honestly. But I think after rewatching and thinking about it, honestly, and it definitely was a bit up in the air, but in the end, Spider-Man 2 has reclaimed the throne as my favorite Spider-Man movie. Yeah, it's the definition of how you do a sequel right, how you do a Spider-Man story right. Again, Tears is great. The train sequence is still one of the best action sequences of all goddamn time, not just in superhero movies. Movies again get some really emotional, poignant moments, some incredible details. Again, that anime scene still lives very much. That scene in anime where Peter tells about Uncle Ben. That scene still lives. That's definitely the definition of a scene that lives rent free in my head. Just an incredible film all around. That there's a reason why 20 years later it's still talked about as one of the best superhero movies and sequels of all time. And now we get to my favorite romance movie of all time, and that is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And that movie that actually just turned 20 years this year. That's insane if you really think about it. But yeah, an incredible emotional poignant romance movie because it's definitely the most different romance movie on this list. And Jim Carrey gives the best performance in this movie, in my opinion. I'll say even Kate Winslet gives the best performance, in my opinion. It's one of the best, most interesting couples, told a non-linear narrative, and it makes it pretty interesting. Even aspects involving the actual processing, like memory wiping process of the movie, even those characters are pretty interesting in what they go through. Again, it's shot beautifully, has incredibly gorgeous cinematography, has incredibly interesting characters. Again, one of the most realistic, brutal romance movies you will ever come across, and it delivers that poignancy so goddamn well. And I'm just getting through these next three movies because these are also three movies that you always would expect in any best movies of all time lists. Like, these are films that you've got to have at least in somewhere on your best films of all time because all three of these movies are still classics for a goddamn reason. Number 23 being Forrest Gump, which I've always loved Forrest Gump. I've always loved this movie. I mean, even looking back on it, it still delivers. Yeah, a movie that's turning 30 years old this year, which is insane. Tom Hanks loves his best performance here as well. You know, when he goes through a very interesting pun, and the Run Forrest Run still references me to this very day for a reason. Number 32, I'll go with the best Terminator movie, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, which no matter how much they might try, no matter how much they might do it, so I don't think any of them are going to ever top Terminator 2. And how it pretty much goes in different directions, the first one, how it delivers like pure great action sequences, emotional moments, like it's basically the definition of what a sequel should do if it delivered on an already perfect movie. And the same with Aliens, which is number 21. The film that just barely missed my list, but Aliens, get away from her, you bitch! Another definition of how you do a sequel right. And that's where that 21, 22 are also James Cameron movies. Again, proves that despite the fact he's being asked on movies, he's still a great director. And Terminator 2 is still a fantastic sequel, and Aliens is also an amazing sequel that's sweet on to action, and it delivers on the action. It's probably the film that made Ellen Ripley an icon that she is today. And again, given her bitch scene also looks right through my head. Again, the moments, the relationships, the action, the cinematography, direction, chef's kiss. Well, folks, now we have reached the top 20. Yes, we finally have reached the actual top 20 favorite movies of all time. Now we get to the biggest surprise on this list. I'm pretty sure nobody here expected this movie to be this high. Like, really? I mean, I knew this movie was good, but you have this high on the list? Yes. Yes. I have Puss in Boots: The Last Wish in my top 20 favorite movies of all time. And I really thought about that, but yeah, I have to always look back on this movie and watching it multiple times. Again, the fact that we got a fucking Puss in Boots sequel on this list, I think even a sequel to that 2011 movie ended up being as good as it was, it's still shocking a couple years later. It's still shocking. It still makes my jaw drop that this movie ended up being as good as it was. Like, holy shit, that is insane. That's insane, people. It is insane. But yeah, it delivers on winning the super sequel. It has the anxiety scenes. Also, lives right in my head. One of the best sequences in all film history. One of the best animation moments. Period. Also, probably the best Shrek moment in the entire franchise. And also the best moment in the entire Shrek franchise, which is definitely a second self-take. And the action is great, the animation is amazing, how they do Puss in Boots is incredible, and the other characters are great, and the Death's one of the best films of all time. Like, I don't think I can say more. Like, this sequel just delivers on pure greatness. So yeah, I decided, yeah, screw it, let's put it in top 20. And now we get to another classic that I'm not talking about too much about. I'm sorry if it's some classic I don't talk too much. There's just some that's like, yeah, it's pretty obvious why they're classics for a reason they deserve to be on this list. But yeah, 19 is Quentin Tarantino's magnum opus, Pulp Fiction. I don't think I say more. Pulp Fiction is still a classic 3 years later to this day. You want to know what's crazy? For the longest time, I had this movie as I've always mentioned that this movie was my favorite anime movie of all time. For the longest time, I mentioned it. And now it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's number 6. Again, it's another case similar to my mentioned by Ryan, is that nothing about the movie really changed. It's just I appreciate a lot of movies so much more. If you're wondering, my number 18 is The Lion King, which is my favorite Disney movie, it still remains my favorite Disney movie of all time. But a long time, I always said this was my favorite anime movie, but yeah, a few films ended up knocking it over, which again, you will definitely see, but yeah, Lion King, not a classic for a reason. And now we get to another animated movie, and that is The Incredibles. Which honestly is still my most rewatched Pixar movie. I watch the movie constantly growing up again. Another movie that's turning freaking 20 years old this year. Yeah. And I'm also not talking about most because I actually did do a nostalgia road trip video on this movie, so you guys will go check that video. You guys know my more in-detailed thoughts on The Incredibles, but yeah, still one best anime movies of all time, one best super movies period, and also gonna add, we're getting the fucking Incredibles 3! Woo! And now we get to one of the last ties on this list. This is, I think, the second. I think there's one more tie to it, but this is the next tie. So I suppose it's good. This is a case where I definitely couldn't decide between which these two movies I enjoyed more, so I decided to include them both in. Well, they're both different movies. They actually are from the same director, and that's both Whiplash and La La Land. Yeah, both of them are number 16 on this list, and both of them are amazing for different reasons. Whiplash being a incredibly tense film on where Miles Teller proving that, hey, this guy can act. And J.K. Simmons living the performance of his goddamn career. Like, holy shit, J.K. Simmons. Like, he's always been known to be a great actor, of course, but my fucking god, does he deliver the performance of a lifetime. Like, yeah, he's one of the long white movies where he's so memorable with his brutal insults and his mannerisms and how he treats Miles Teller's character. Like, it is insane. Drum sequence has also been incredible. Again, Miles Teller actually did blood, sweat, and tears for that role, which is insane if you think about it. And that ending sequence and the whole final drumming sequence in general is just holy shit. And then there's La La Land, which is a musical. Which just shows how diverse Damien Chazelle is, honestly. And mind you, this is also the film that made me fall in love with jazz music, honestly. I didn't know about jazz music, but this is the movie that made me fall in love with that genre. Again, Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling proved they are an incredible pair together, having some of the best chemistry in any musical movie. And La La Land, you can tell La La Land is my favorite musical of all time. Especially that I love musicals. Again, I think it's probably the only one that made the list. I think it had Singing in the Rain as like an honorable mention, if I remember correctly. Which is it. Which honestly is the same thing. I do love musicals, honestly. But also High School Musical is also on this list. Like, except for that, I think that's the only musical that actually ended up making the list. But yeah, another movie that also had incredibly one of the best endings in film history, in my opinion. The song I still hum to this very day. Like I can't remember like boom 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 boom. Like I still hum that song to this very day. Again, see, Stars is great. Again, Audition, Who's a Dream. Again, and the whole musical sequence in general are just holy shit. And now we get to another Spielberg movie. Oh my god, another Spielberg movie? But yes, this one is Raiders of the Lost Ark. I didn't mention that this movie might be on this list, but yeah, it's in the 15 again. Another movie that ended up being my top 10, but again, it's not a case where basically just films just jump up more up list more than Aiden. My thoughts changed on this movie because yeah, Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark is basically the quintessential adventure movie. Like it basically is for a goddamn reason. And Indiana Jones is still one of the best characters of all time, still one of the best adventure movies in general. Again, the story is great, the vibes are interesting, and Indiana Jones is a fantastic character. Again, so many iconic action set pieces that are still, I love rewatching come back to this very day. Makes fun of some elements of all adventure movies, and just really just puts a big grin on my face whenever I come back to it. And still by Atlanta, some of my favorite Indiana Jones movie, honestly, and it's fortunate film, and I don't gonna use it anymore. I believe I had this film at number 4 in my last ranking. Again, just some films just end up on more. But yeah, number 14, we have my favorite horror movie of all time, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Again, a movie that's turning 40 years old. What is this? Sadly, I get this when I feel like talking about so fast and next movie, but yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street, fantastic, incredible. Freddy Krueger's the best killer of all time. Incredible kills, incredible concept, just scary beyond belief. This was the first horror. And the reason why it is my favorite horror movie of all time, because this was the first movie that legitimately scared me, gave me nightmares, and let me freaking scared in the dark and everything. Like, yeah. This was the first movie that made me feel like I know there was like a big point in my childhood where basically I was really addicted to horror movies. And yeah, I ended up being like, super scared. I think this was the first one that actually made me like terrified and nightmares. So it's like, yeah. Weasel. And now we get to my favorite Ghibli movie on this list, my favorite Studio Ghibli movie, and that is Spirited Away. Yeah, a movie that actually was so good and ended up winning like I believe it also won Best Animated Feature at the Oscars. So yeah, it did. And what again? That film now, how am I gonna know when you said it hasn't already been said about Spirited Away? It's one of those beautiful, majestic movies of all goddamn time. The story is compelling, the characters are compelling, the animation, the world building is just holy shit! I'm getting just excited just thinking about how memorable those sequences were. Again, it's a classic for a goddamn reason. And now we get to number 12. We get to one of two last trilogies on this list, and that is the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm going to say this: the other movie, in my opinion, that actually topped the Dark Knight, is my favorite superhero movie of all time. Also, Dark Knight is probably still my second favorite, honestly. But I can say how much I love Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises as well. I decided to include this trilogy on this list. And again, it's still probably the best movie trilogy of all time, at least. Like, it still has some of the best performances, some of the best moments of any Batman movie, and Dark Knight's still referenced and loved to this very day. Batman Begins is still fantastic, and Dark Knight Rises I actually think is underappreciated. Just a quintessential Batman movie series. Christian Bale's great, and the films are great. He loves Joker, Meals on School, again Bane, and all the story moments, all the incredible moments. Again, we got origin story, great crime thriller, and just a really tense movies. And he really delivered on the characters and being faithful to a lot of these characters and what goes on. And even the action scenes I thought were great, and quintessential Batman movies. And now we get to my number 11. Yeah, we're finally getting close to the top 10, people. But yeah, now we get to the movie that just ended up missing my list, missing the top 10, and that is the original Shrek. The film that basically is my most rewatched movie of all time, which is unintentional, obviously, because this movie ended up being played in so much all schools I go to. When like in middle school and high school, they always played the original Shrek. But thankfully, it's a movie that I never got sick of it because it is an incredibly entertaining movie, an incredibly exhilarating experience. It basically started the whole making fun of fairy tales genre. It's a movie that basically put DreamWorks on the map, and for good reason. It's charming, hilarious, all the jokes still hit to this very day. Shrek is a very interesting, compelling character. Again, along having some of the most relatable themes in any anime movie, period. Again, Donkey Kong is great, Love Rockcore is great, and the animation still holds up pretty well today. The soundtrack, like I'm still jamming out All Star and I believe it to this very day. Just perfection. Well, folks, we made it. We have made it to the top 10 best movies of all time, or top 10 best favorite movies of all time, in my humble opinion. These are the 10 movies that I think are just my true favorites, the ones I always go to as. These are the films that made me fall in love with movies. Like you said, all movies on this list, honestly, but the other movies that made me fall in love with movies, but these are the quintessential ones. So, let's kick it off with number 10. Number 10. We got my favorite comedy of all time, which is Kiss Kiss Bye Bye. I believe this was on my list. I think it was like in the top 50, honestly. But the more I think about it, the more that Kiss Bye Bye really just grows on me the more I watch it. Yeah, it's my favorite comedy of all time. It's the director of Shane Black, and he proves that he can really do a comedy right. It's movie with a lot of lines I'll still reference my brain, a lot of scenes I'll still reference my brain. Again, Rob Nightingale gives a great performance. This was before Iron Man. This was he was still on a weird tail point of his career. His chemistry with Val Kilmer is just incredible to witness. His chemistry with Michelle Monaghan is fantastic. The New York Mystery is very interesting and one of the most funniest opening sequences of all time. Get some great back and forth, some great shots, some great dialogue. Like the sharpness of dialogue and the editing is just incredible. It's a movie that just puts a big smile on my face again, and does what basic comedy should do. It makes you laugh your ass off, you almost pee your pants. Like, I don't think I actually did, honestly, but that's basically how I feel about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It is probably what will be my favorite comedy of all time. Number 9, we have Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. I actually definitely debated just going to the original trilogy, Star Wars trilogy, but I think I'm not as high on Return of the Jedi as New Hope, and I decided to include some entries, but yeah. The film that started Star Wars, don't even say anymore. Number 8, we get to the last trilogy on this list. And I definitely debate between this trilogy and the Dark Knight trilogy as which one would be more superior. But in the end, I just couldn't deny the Lord of the Rings trilogy, especially after having rewatched them recently as I'm filming this. Like, I totally forgot how incredible these movies are. Again, Middle-earth is an incredible world to explore. They really do a good job with the world building. And in spite of being incredibly long movies, the world is so immersive, the characters are so interesting, compelling. You just couldn't care less they're incredibly long. That you just want to be so invested in what's going on. It just works. So yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not a case, but I think Lord of the Rings is probably the best trilogy of all time. And now at number 7, we get to the final tie on this list. Yes, we a tie in the top 10, and because both movies are very kind of different movies, but they're very similar, most because they're from the same genre, and they're both coming-of-age movies. First one being Good Will Hunting, which of course has been put down by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, which of course I think was nominated or won an Oscar for him, correctly. Don't correct me if I'm wrong there. And he got probably Matt Damon's best performance. He also got Ron Williams' performance like that. It's Not Your Fault scene lives right from my head. Definitely debate with that scene and the characterization of Dark Knight and another scene for my number 1. That's probably my favorite movie moment of all time. Like, I never thought was my favorite of all time, but that's a movie for another day. But Good Will Hunting is just an incredible movie with incredible performances, very realistic moments, just very personal moments, and just can't help but be so invested in Will's journey. And then we have 8th Grade, my personal favorite A24 movie, and probably will always be my favorite A24 movie. Again, I didn't remember how to move this silence list, but again, it's just one of the most personal movies of all time. And personally, for me, Kayla is my favorite movie character of all time. Both because she is me. Kayla is me. Like, I'm sorry, boy, obviously, but yeah, how she acts and her mannerisms and everything, and how she reacts and her shyness and everything, and her anxiety is like, that is me. That is so me. Even YouTube aspect, which I never done at 8th grade. I was like, that is so me. And I always love when characters make me feel like, oh, that is so goddamn me. And the killer does that. But then that you get a pretty personal movie where you do also get to really characters. You got John Hamilton living a good film as the father, trying to understand Kayla. Again, it's a very simple movie where you want to see like what she's going through and everything. And he really do, and he really do. He also got a great poem from Elsie Fisher as well. He also got great cinematography. It's judged by Bo Burnham, and his sharp writing and realistic aspects are incredible. Again, it's very relatable if you have like massive, incredible social anxiety. And believe me, I have social anxiety. Like I'm a typical social person, but I'm still kind of scared of life when it comes to being social sometimes. So I relate so much to Kayla. So again, they're both so good. I just said, yeah, let's just have to be the last tie on this list. And now we get to my number 6, which is my favorite DreamWorks movie, and that is Shrek 2. Okay, for the longest time I always debated between whether the original or Shrek 2 I think are the best. I always thought the original one mostly because it's the film I've rewatched the most, but after rewatching Shrek 2 very recently and after coming back to the movie a lot of times throughout the years, I said, you know what, Shrek 2 is the better one, honestly, because it is basically what a sequel previously should do. It basically builds on the themes, builds on everything that made the original Shrek so good in the first place. It really builds on what makes that film so fantastic. Again, that final battle scene, the whole out sequence, like, it's incredible. And what Shrek was going to do for Fiona, beautiful. You get some great hilarious moments. Again, Accidentally Love still with my head, a little bit, Loca is still left in my head. Like, it's just an incredible experience that I always love coming back to. And to me, it still probably always will be the best film that DreamWorks has done. Okay, folks, now we're in the top 5, people! Top 5! And now we get to what is my new favorite animated movie of all goddamn time! And that is Inside Out. Which, of course, is also not my favorite Pixar movie, but my favorite animated movie of all goddamn time. Mostly because it is probably the most relatable movie on social. Because while you mentioned with Soul, obviously having that mature theme I mentioned, Inside Out basically is the most relatable one, mostly because it lives on the message on toxic positivity. Which I think we all can relate to, honestly. Just want to be like so positive all the time, just want to be so happy all the time, and enjoy just basically like, I want to be happy, like happy is bad, like sadness is bad. And she basically like pushes away sadness and everything, which leads to a lot of unfortunate shit that ends up happening in that movie. And the moment she realizes that, oh my god, sadness is a good emotion. And that scene where basically Ryan ends up crying to her parents, like, best Pixar moment easily. Like, that moment, oh my god. So, that moment in Jonas Brothers is what Pixar can do when they are at their absolute best. For that, you also get some pretty hilarious moments. Again, the San Francisco repeats the line still was ripping my head. You get some pretty financial moments, and Bauman's a really great character. Again, once you following him, it's pretty emotional. Again, it delivers on the great message that, hey, it's okay to not be happy and positive all the time. I'm a positive person, yet I know I can't believe that all the time, so yeah. Inside Out, it's a movie that I appreciate and love so much more the more I think about it, and it definitely belongs in the top 5. And now we get to the movie, at number 4, that has topped in Dark Knight as my favorite movie of all time, and it is the last MCU movie on this list, and that is Avengers Endgame. I only have one problem with this movie. No matter how much they try, I don't think they'll go top Endgame. Like, they're probably going to try with Doomsday and Secret Wars, but I'm sorry. I don't think they're ever going to top Endgame, in my opinion. I know that a lot of people actually do prefer Infinity War, but I've always been like an Endgame defender, even with some of the criticisms with the Thor and the Hulk stuff. And it is just an incredible, eventful movie that has an incredible 3-hour ride that uses the best pieces of their characters, makes a lot of the previous movies so incredible. Honestly, well, there might be some moments that are like, oh, this shouldn't happen, or that shouldn't happen. Like, are you serious? But they still hit like a ton of breaks. Again, the cinematography is fantastic, some of the most gorgeous sequences in any MCU movie, and it hits some of the most And it's based on the most human emotion in any MCU movie. Like, the human emotions in that movie are just incredible. And that final battle, that final goddamn battle, and that moment that's in the movie, my favorite moment of all time in movies. I'm dead serious. And I remember watching this in the theater and being just so, holy shit, especially some of the fangasm moments that just, oh my god! Okay, folks, now we're going to get to the top 3, people. And there are 2 movies on here that actually kind of were also in my top 3, and I believe this is actually my same top 3, actually, if I remember correctly, that were in my original top 3, just, there's a couple that actually did shift, actually. For my number 3, being Jurassic Park. The film that made me fall in love with movies, and always will be, my favorite Spielberg movie. 3 years later, 1 year later, it still hits our ton of bricks, it still hits that same great emotion that it did. It's a movie that made me want to write movies and want to be a filmmaker, which I'm still trying to go back to work on, honestly. Again, the dinosaur effects are so amazing, the characters are still great, it's a film that's really important to myself. And now my number 2. My number 2 favorite movie of all time is The Empire Strikes Back. Dun, dun, dun! And the reason I say that because for the longest time, throughout the longest time in my life, I've always said that this movie was my favorite movie of all time. I've always said The Empire Strikes Back was my favorite movie of all time. Yeah, I've always thought this movie was my favorite of all time, and again, obviously it's not over number 1. It's no longer number 1 on this list. But I'm sure you guys get number 1, honestly, if you've been in the channel for a long time, honestly, but yeah, Empire Strikes Back is no number 1, but obviously it's still an incredible movie. It still has the iconic fire sequence, still one of the best sequences of all time. So, pretty much the pure definition of how you do a sequel right. This basically is the film that shows that, hey, this is how you do a sequel. This is how you build upon the original. It makes the movie so much better. And it does. And now, we have finally made it, people. My number 1 favorite movie of all damn time. My personal number 1 favorite film of all time. The film that I have loved more than any movie in existence. And it was definitely a debate for a bit. Of course, the debate obviously do have like a favorite movie, but I'm sure some people are like, really? This movie? But this movie I just have a personal connection with. It's a movie that is probably the definition of a comfort movie. It has helped me a lot throughout a lot of times and throughout COVID, and a movie that I can always come back to so often. And that, my friends, is Edgar Wright's Baby Driver. Yes, Baby Driver is my favorite movie of all time. It's a very personal movie to me too, yeah. It's definitely not the most emotional, personal movie in the world, but it's a film that from the first moment I saw in theaters, I just fell in love with the characters, I just fell in love with the world. I knew this movie was going to be an instant favorite from the moment I watched it. And I've watched it so many times since then. Like, it's definitely it's down between like Trek and Space Jam, the most rewatched movie of all time. It is the pure definition of a comfort movie. A movie that I can reference a lot of lines, I can say a lot of songs in the soundtrack. A movie that I can rewatch so many incredible action set pieces that are incredibly well edited by Edgar Wright. I can relate so much to the romance is incredibly great in this movie, and Elgort Levis' best performance. The actors are pretty good in general as well. Again, Jamie Foxx is one of his best performances. Again, the ending sequence is pretty great. It gets some pretty, you still get some pretty heartfelt and emotional moments here. But again, this movie is just a pure comfort movie. It's a movie that, for a lot of times in my life, it has, oh man, it can be. Some of my favorite movies, and I pretty much think every movie on this, majority of movies on this list has helped me through a lot of tough times in my life, which is a good thing about movies, honestly, is that they can really help you through a lot of personal times in your life. But if I pick the one movie that really helped me through so much, I would say Baby Driver. And for me, that is why Baby Driver is my number 1 favorite film of all time. Oh my god, that was a lot of filming editing, but Oh no, I hope you all enjoyed this. This is celebrate 9 years of YouTube. Thank you everyone for all the love and support. Again, I don't know how long I'm still going to do YouTube. I don't know how long I'm going to keep going with this, honestly. Because honestly, there's a lot of things that I can't fit in. And again, I don't really see myself being like a successful YouTuber, honestly. But I'm happy that everyone does enjoy my content. I do have some people that are big supporters and do love what I do. So it genuinely means a lot. So yeah, I hope you'll enjoy this list. Again, let me know your favorite movies of all time down below in the comment section. Let me know your favorites, any movies I think I should put on this list. Let me know your personal favorite, be like 100, 50, 10, just whatever. Let me know down in the comment section. And let me know if you guys want to see one on TV shows and video games in the near future. I actually might do that next year actually, so stay tuned for that. I am Cinema One World from Cinema Productions. I will see you next time as always. Stay cool, everybody. Peace.